Real quick before we get into the review, just gotta thank the people over on Patreon, because without their support, a lot of this upgraded content you see on the channel would not be possible. And I gotta say, on top of being able to respond to you guys in the DMs, you know, one of the fun things about the Patreon is every 3 months we do an anime and manga haul, and there's a lot of good goodies in that one. You also get sneak peeks at videos that haven't made their way onto the channel yet. I'm still figuring out what to do for actual YouTube memberships, so leave a suggestion down in the comment section below. But with that being said, thank you so much for all of you guys' support, and now let's get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto episode 217, and man, I gotta say, hats off to the anime team for what they did here. The small additions that they made to this episode were absolutely beautiful, and I'm gonna say right now, we've had some really big names work on this episode, and I love the sequences that are done. Like, there's this one shot in particular where Naruto, as he's using the Baryon mode in the manga, he just does a few quick sequences and Naruto falls to his knees because the Baryon mode is wearing off. In the anime, we get this beautiful shot where Naruto's Baryon mode, we see the toll that it's taking on his body, because Baryon mode, the tails begin to shrink. Naruto's struggling to maintain the form. He's going in and out of the Baryon mode as he's on his knees. The small touches like that, absolutely beautiful. When it comes to animation, there are very good shots in the taijutsu sequences where when Naruto's dodging, you see the flow of his hair and you see the shadows following with Naruto. Very, very beautiful done. The same thing when Isshiki gets knocked backwards and you see the flaps of the clothes keeping up with them. Very, very well done. I love some of those animation sequences that we have right there. Now, I will say this. I gotta say, when it comes to the power of Baryon mode, I did think it was very interesting that the anime, when it came to showcasing Naruto's form, the anime gave Isshiki the opportunity to try and show a little bit what he could do, but while also showcasing Naruto's dominance. And that shot when Naruto just hits this dude Isshiki with the right hook, and you see Ishiki's cheek beginning to raise up because of the impact that it's hit with, and you see the eyes change where you got that squish and stretch. Very, very beautifully done animation. That's why I say, before people start complaining about animation, look up the 12 principles of animation. Now, I will say another thing I thought was interesting when it came to how they showcase Naruto's dominance over Isshiki is, in the anime, you get this feeling that Naruto's in 120% control when Naruto has early access to Baryon mode. And by making this fight a little longer, showcasing the small scenes like when Naruto grabs the chakra rods and he's using them to deflect, you see Naruto more than once just snatch the chakra rods out the air. I love seeing that. I love how the anime again confirms something that I've said for a while, which is the fact that Naruto's ocular speed has been amped up to a level now to where he's seeing and perceiving things much faster than Sasuke. And I've seen people say that, oh, Sasuke's Sharingan's been nerfed. Well, what that shows to me is that you weren't paying attention to the Naruto franchise, because in Naruto, Rock Lee and a few other characters make it a point to tell Sasuke, so what, you got the Sharingan? So what if your eyes can follow my movements if you yourself cannot keep up with me? And that's the problem that Sasuke has going up against Isshiki, is the fact that Sasuke's Sharingan, by his own credit, is struggling to keep up with Ishiki's movements, but he's keeping up with the movements, he just can't react to them. Naruto is not only seeing Ishiki's movements and seeing the chakra rods being shot at him, but Naruto's also got the speed to be able to counter. I love seeing that. And even Sasuke recognizes, like, Naruto's on a different level. He goes from they're fighting equal to, no, Naruto's actually got the advantage on him. And just seeing the little small stuff where you see Naruto and Isshiki and they're standing side by side and they're just going back and forth, and you see Naruto blocking the attacks. That very beautifully done sequence where Naruto raises his leg up and hits Isshiki with several kicks back to back to back, and then sends this dude flying. very nicely done right there. And what they reveal in this episode about Baryon Mode is essentially every hit that Naruto lands on Isshiki is just draining away this life force. And it's because of what Kurama says, all chakra is connected. So it's just physical contact. And I like how Kurama does explain in this, like, yo, it does not matter if we're stronger, we should definitely be stronger, but power isn't the key here. It's about maintaining contact, and no move can be wasted because, as we see in this episode, the form itself begins to wear out. And what I like here is that there was actually an homage made to part 1, Naruto versus Sasuke at the Valley of the End, when they're on top of that lake and they're going back and forth. That combination that Naruto hit Isshiki with, where he's doing the punches and kicks and he's lifting him up, that's very similar, if not the same battle sequence that you saw in the part 1 battle. And I gotta say, I love that small moment where you have Isshiki's chakra blast and Naruto's chakra blast, and they begin to clash right there in the center, and you see the water just raising up, and that was just mwah. That was just a beautifully done sequence. The small additions like that. Now, I've seen people say, how come they didn't have Kurama's nuclear fusion in the last episode? So it's a quick reminder. The way that played out in the manga is Naruto goes into Baryon mode, and then we get a flashback where Naruto's asking Kurama, what's the difference between this new transformation and QB chakra mode and Sage's 6 pass mode? And that's when Kurama explains it like nuclear science. I get why they removed that, because all these extra sequences do a better job of showcasing everything than that long drawn out response that Kurama gives Naruto. Just the small taijutsu sequences, that was more important than getting the full explanation. Just Kurama saying, hey, it's going to feed off of my chakra and your chakra until one of them runs out. No worries about it. Just maintain physical contact. Don't waste your movements. That was well done enough. And I like how you get this build up to where when Naruto's going in and out of the mode and he's seemingly got Isshiki on the ropes, the way they build up to it is they showcase that bond with Naruto and Kawaki by having Kawaki realize that the prosthetic arm that Naruto gave to Kawaki is messing up, and Isshiki takes that as an opportunity to say, wait a second, something's not right here. I like how you see that, and it goes back to a principle of part 1 of Naruto, to where if you continually show people your jutsu, or if you continue to use a power or ability in front of somebody, they will find a weakness, and Isshiki eventually figures out a way to bring Kawaki to the battlefield by using Naruto's chakra power in that prosthetic arm. And one thing that this really does very well is it gives you the opportunity to showcase Isshiki's major character flaw, which is he's a very arrogant character, and I like how that's ultimately going to be his downfall. The small things like the inflection of the voice actor as he's doing all this taunting and all this trash talk, and then the transition to when he realizes that he's coughing up blood, and the way that the animation has that really good shot where you're able to see the light bulb go off in his head because of the way that his eyes are drawn. Those are very nice things right there. That the little small things that we got in this episode from the voice actor are why I was very excited when they announced Jigen's voice actor. If you're not familiar, Jigen and Isshiki's voice actor did the voices for Overhaul from My Hero Academia, Silver Fullbuster from Fairy Tail Series 2. If you're a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, this should be the voice of Seto Kaiba as well. So he's done some really big roles in the past, and I just love the small additions that he's made to this character. I really felt like the anime did a good job of emphasizing the fact that Naruto's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna bring Isshiki down with me. And you just see Naruto in a situation where this dude's smiling. Like, we've seen Naruto pissed off in battle. Naruto smiling throughout the entire battle because he knows that he is drastically reducing Isshiki's life force. And by the time Isshiki realizes what's going on, he's gone from having over 20 hours of time to having less than 5 minutes by the time that Naruto really begins to put the screws on this guy. It goes from 20 hours to 30 minutes to just under 5 minutes. That's how overpowered Baryon mode is. And what we're seeing right here is something I've said for years now, which is if you flirt with the idea, or if you actually kill off a legacy character or a beloved character in general, you have to do so in a way to where it's true to the character. The idea that Naruto's Hokage is not only protecting his village, but he's also protecting his son as a father. And he's got this super badass battle like this, and it comes with very real stakes. You see Naruto have the upper hand as well as struggle at times, but you see the massive impact that Naruto's power is having on his enemy. On top of that, this makes for this conclusion of this battle. This makes it a lot more earned, in my opinion, with all these small additions that have been made. Because as the fight is going on, you see how Isshiki goes from, yeah, Naruto got a huge power up, this might be a problem, but he still got that arrogant looking down on Naruto type of persona going on. Even though Naruto's clearly stronger than him, he still looked down upon him and was getting irritated. Now you see how Isshiki is getting desperate and more frustrated. And I love how, again, the cadence in the voice actor's voice just changes, and you see that desperation just magnified as Naruto begins to continue dodging the attacks and landing more hits on Isshiki, and you just get that real sense of helplessness from Isshiki Otsutsuki in this time. This is brilliant voice acting right here. Again, when you decide that you're going to kill off a character, this is the way that you do a send-off, is you give it a back and forth, and you see the character have moments where they struggle, but it makes the victory seem that much more earned. If they win, or if they fail to defeat the enemy, it makes their sacrifice feel that much more heartbreaking, because you see how much they put it on the line, and ultimately they did not come out on top. Killing off characters is completely fine. It just comes down to how you do it. And I like these small additions that the anime's doing, because what's going to happen in the next couple of episodes, this is absolutely huge right here. And this is going to make that payoff that much more earned, in my opinion. Now, the next thing we have to talk about with this episode is what happens on the back end of the episode, dealing with Isshiki and Kawaki and Naruto and just all the extra stuff that they did. I think the one thing that does not get enough credit, in my opinion, is the utilization of the ticking clock. So this was done in the manga in terms of the whole counting down. Isshiki telling Kawaki, if you don't come out here after Kawaki runs away, when Isshiki summons him to the battlefield, Kawaki just ups and leaves and tries to hide. Naruto and Sasuke try and buy him time. Well, Isshiki begins to count down, and he tells Kawaki, if you do not come out, I will kick open the Hokage's chest and I will destroy him. And the reason why I like that is what the ticking clock does is it puts a timer on the situation, and it immediately raises the stakes, because every second that goes by, you know, you're getting closer and closer towards this monumental moment. And one of the ways that the anime pays this off is it parallels Naruto and this goldfish that Kawaki had, which should make you go back to Boruto episode 192, when you find out how Jigen was able to select Kawaki, and you know about that child trafficker who used the goldfish and how Kawaki had that pet goldfish. Well, you're seeing it paid off right here, because what Isshiki, while in control of Jigen's body, what he does is he uses that goldfish as Kawaki maintaining some aspect of his humanity, and he uses it as leverage against Kawaki. Jigen basically threatens to knock over the goldfish that is inside that container, and Kawaki, upon realizing it, comes out and ultimately runs away. And what you get right here is that Naruto and that goldfish become symbolic to one another, because as the goldfish is knocked out of its container, and as the goldfish is sucking up for air and trying to suck up water because it's trying not to die, Naruto's in that same situation. So I thought that that was very beautiful. That was a nice artistic choice right there. That was not something in the manga. And what I also like is how, as all this is going on, you also get brief flashbacks where Kawaki is remembering Amato doing all those experiments on his body. As a reminder, Kawaki is a cyborg. Amato pumped his body full of scientific ninja weapon tech like he did all the other Kara members. We see Amato doing that work on Kawaki very briefly, so I thought that was a nice touch right there to just remind you how traumatized this character is. And what I like right here is that every time we get a countdown and it gets closer and closer, we see more of Kawaki's trauma, and we see him struggling with those ghosts of his past, and we see the literal ghost of Jigen. As a reminder, Jigen is dead. Isshiki shrank himself, went into Jigen's body, was controlling Jigen, but Jigen was always a separate person. Isshiki was just controlling him. And what I like right here is that you see Jigen's ghost taunting Kawaki, and you see Kawaki going through his stages of a mental breakdown, and what ultimately is what gives him the confidence to face his fears and to make the right decision this time is he has the flashback of Naruto calling him his student. He literally remembers Naruto holding on to him, telling him that everything's gonna be okay. And what I like right here is that we're seeing that deep bond between Naruto and Kawaki, and it's not just a bond of master and student, it's a bond between an adopted father and an adopted son. And that goes back to the whole theme of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. Yes, it's about breaking away from your familiar bonds, your family bonds, and carving your own path, but it's also a story of parenthood and childhood, especially in this early part of the story that Boruto told us in chapter 1 was at the very beginning of the story. It was a story of me and my father. Naruto's story is being a parent. In Naruto's new transformation, he's doing so not just as a Hokage, but also as a parent. And Kawaki is an adopted child of his. So I did like seeing that, and I like how everything kind of came to a head where Kawaki is looking down at Isshiki, and Kawaki is preparing to potentially make a sacrifice in order to protect Naruto. It just kind of shows you, especially with recent events in the manga, how naive Kawaki can be. But in this case, Kawaki has a clear plan that's about to be implemented because he knows that Isshiki's trying to put that karma seal on him. So, I mean, overall, I thought this was a very, very well done episode. What I want to know from you guys is, number one, in terms of characters and how they were handled, given all the extra stuff that the anime's added through the course of these past 60 episodes since we've been introduced to the members of Kara, and these past 20 something episodes that we spent with Kawaki, who do you think has been done the best justice out of all these characters? Was it Kawaki? Was it Jigen? Was it Isshiki? Rank them in order for me. And then the second question I have for you guys is, once again, do you prefer the manga version of the fight or do you prefer the anime version? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you have anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.